Okay, what I have here is a 4.5 inch extruded aluminum head box. We have a 4.5 inch and a 5 inch. The main thing to point out on this is make sure, this is really important, when you install this head box, make sure that the orientation is correct. And what I mean by that is there's a set of runners here, or what I would call a runner, for the closure plate, okay, or this is your hanger portion of the box. Your closure plate hangs off of this runner here, okay? So that's really important to know which side of the box is going to be facing the exterior, which side is going to be facing the interior. If it's a regular roll, rolling off the back, you want this runner to be facing towards the front. So once you put your closure hanger on the bottom, you then have a slot in the back, okay, for the shade fabric to fall through. If it's a reverse roll, you want to make sure that the runner or the hanger is on the back side facing the exterior, okay, or the glass. That way when the fabric rolls off towards the room, the closure plate, okay, is on the back side of the box, so your fabric can fall through the slot towards the front of the box. If you don't do that right when you install it the first time, you're going to have to take it down, flip it around, and reinstall it. So hopefully you'll make good notes and keep that from happening. Okay, what I've done here is a couple things. Just to kind of give myself a head start, is I went ahead and I put up L brackets. Okay, and the reason for that is I didn't want to go into the masonry up above. Really didn't want to have the mess, didn't want to have the issues associated with it, dealing with anchors and pre-drilling and all of that. It was a lot easier just to put up some L brackets and just use some self-tappers. I used self-tappers to put the L brackets into the aluminum mullion. Going through aluminum is easy, okay? It's like going into wood. Just make sure you have self-tapping screws. Otherwise, it's not going to be so easy. Self-tapping screws, aluminum, piece of cake. Okay, you just have to do it right. So I put self-tappers into aluminum mullions for my L brackets, and those are steel L brackets, but I can still use a self-tapper on those steel brackets because they're thin. So I just went ahead and I self-tapped through the box. I've since removed it so I can show it to you. But I self-tapped through the box. This is aluminum. It went through this like butter. A little bit more effort to get it into the brackets, and sometimes I had to use multiple screws because with self-tappers, if they start to wear out, you'll know that you've burned one up. Just toss it, get another one. You've got essentially a fresh bit. And it took no more than 2 to essentially penetrate through that steel and mount the head box. Okay, so I've already done that part. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to, by myself, get the box up there. I'm going to mount it and show you how you do that at this point in time. So just need to find a drill and we'll get to work. Okay, here goes nothing. So we're going to go ahead and get this up here single-handedly. Not that I expect anybody else to do this. I'm a trade professional, of course. So they say. I'm joking. So make sure you have another set of hands in a situation like this, but I don't, so that's why I'm doing it by myself. But I'm going to make sure it's all the way to the left. I'm going to push it up here nice and tight. And I'm going to hold it in place. Let's go to work. Okay, once you've got the first screw in, you can give your left arm a break. Let me get another one in here. And one more for good measure. Okay, it's nice and secure. So I'm going to go to my ends. Always easiest to do the center first. Now, another thing to pay attention to is I actually broke off 2 self-tappers doing this. They weren't the heaviest duty self-tappers I've ever seen, So make sure you set your drill to back off a little bit. Use the clutch on the drill so you don't snap screws off. I failed to do that. So I'm going to try another one here. And I'll just show you how it works from the start. So I'm already through the aluminum. That was easy. I'm going to back it off a little bit. Then I'm going to go through the steel now. And it went through the steel pretty easy on that one. So that one's all set. Got one more to go here. That one burned up that self-tapper, so no big deal. Get yourself another one, they're cheap. And save yourself the energy. Okay, piece of cake. Now this soffit, there's a little bit of a gap here. Reason being, this soffit actually rises. And it actually rises towards the front a little bit. So I really can't do much about this gap. I can try and maybe cinch it up a little bit, but the reality is the box is level. The soffit isn't, okay? So again, it has quite a slope to it. It's certainly higher in the front, lower in the back. So at this point in time, I say we go with that. Again, if you have a situation where you can do a mount through the top without the L brackets, it's certainly going to eliminate this gap. But knowing that this was off, and again being masonry, I just opted to make sure the box is level, which means we're going to have a little bit of a gap here on the right side. So residential applications, if you're going into wood, which most headers are, just go straight up into the wood. Pretty simple and easy to do. You just have to pre-drill the head box. Since you're using wood screws, pre-drill the head box where you know that wood framing is. Hopefully there's a solid header. You don't have to worry about that, but sometimes you may not have a solid header. Rather not have to use drywall anchors. You really want to try and go into something solid if you can. Worst case, use drywall anchors if you need to. And you'll just have to make sure you pre-drill the top of that head box, because in that situation you won't be using self-tappers. In this case, I'm using self-tappers because I was going into steel, so I wasn't worried about pre-drilling the box. That's all for now. We'll get back to the next module and install some shades.